Good, happy Thursday morning. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast. Let's get started. Package found near State House with homeless man's clothes. State Police and Concord Police investigated a suspicious package located near the State House on Wednesday. Manchester drug dealer admits to selling fatal heroin dose. A Manchester woman has admitted to selling a fatal dose of heroin that killed another woman in Laconia, Drug Enforcement Administration officials said. Teen bicyclist seriously injured when struck by SUV. A teenager boy was seriously injured Tuesday after he was struck by an SUV in Merrimack. Fan struck in head by foul ball at Fisher Cats game. A fan was struck in the head by a foul ball Wednesday night during the New Hampshire Fisher Cats game at Northeast Delta Dental Stadium. Manchester bank robber sentenced to 4 years in prison. A Manchester man was sentenced to prison Wednesday for robbing a Bank of America last year. Crews search for missing man in Androscoggin River. Search and rescue crews were called into action Wednesday after a man canoeing on the Androscoggin River fell into the water and never resurfaced. Chris Sununu knows he made his political road more difficult. Executive Council Chris Sununu broke with his party on Wednesday when he was, for the second time, the swing vote on the 5-member council on the question of state funding for Planned Parenthood of New England. Autopsy undertaken to determine cause of whale's death. Biologists began their investigation Wednesday morning into what killed a humpback whale that washed onto a Rye beach earlier this week. DHHS disputes claim of not enough staffing at New Hampshire hospital. 12 physicians and nurse practitioners are walking out of New Hampshire hospital for good on Thursday. Blood testing to begin for people with PFOA contaminated wells. A meeting was held in Merrimack Wednesday night to discuss new information in the PFOA water contamination investigation affecting southern New Hampshire and Pease trade port. Bedford police arrest man on felony drug charges. Bedford police arrested William Toone, 20, on felony drug charges Tuesday. Tanker collides with sailboats near Portsmouth. A 477-foot oil tanker collided with 3 sailboats Wednesday near the mouth of the Piscataqua River, U.S. Coast Guard officials said. State police cruiser sideswiped by tractor-trailer. A state police cruiser was struck Wednesday by a tractor-trailer on the Everett Turnpike in Nashua. Biondo to be named senior national advisor to Trump campaign. As Donald Trump prepares to return to New Hampshire on Thursday, the Riley King Network has learned that the prospective Republican presidential nominee will name a veteran Manchester political operative as a senior advisor to his national campaign. Infant children found in house near uncapped hydroponic needles. 2 women were arrested after Goffstown police served a search warrant and found children inside the house in close proximity to uncapped hydroponic needles. Trump's convention stars his kids. For months, Donald Trump has talked about how his wife and children have asked him to be more presidential. His campaign aides at various points in time have talked about how he will tone it down. At the Republican National Convention, the billionaire is calling on his children to make those predictions come true. U.S. features raise as Brexit worries fade data eyed. U.S. stocks index features indicated a higher open on Thursday morning as traders eyed the release of data and kept an eye on the fallout from the UK decision to leave the European Union. Istanbul airport attackers were from Russia, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan. Let's take a look at this video from ABC News. Let's take a listen.
From Neutrogena. Now to the latest on the terror attack in Turkey overnight. Officials conducting raids as we learn new details about that deadly blast at the airport. ABC's Terry Moran is on the scene, has the latest for us. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Robin. Istanbul is a shaken city today. Security is being intensified at public places around the city, and officials are now disclosing they believe the attackers here at the airport were Russian and Central Asian, as we are learning more about what they did here. This morning, authorities in Istanbul are cracking down. 16 raids throughout the city targeting ISIS, and 13 people are now under arrest. This as we learn new details about that horrific attack on the city's airport Tuesday. The coordinated massacre killing 42 people and wounding 239 others. And we're seeing these newly released images of the suspected attackers, this man in a baseball cap with an alleged accomplice. Officials say the 3 attackers pulled up in a taxi just before 10 p.m. Tuesday. The attackers got out of a taxi here at the front of the airport where the first layer of security is. They were spotted and scattered. One heading down that way, opening fire, detonating his explosive. Another making it into the terminal there. You can see the busted windows. Blew himself up there. The third going downstairs where people were waiting for rides and detonating there. They used automatic weapons and unleashed a combination of deadly fire inside the airport. The attacks inside happened first. Passengers fleeing in terror as the gunmen opened fire. Then an explosion, shaking tiles from the ceiling.
Just a sea of people screaming, running, tripping, police with guns drawn. And it quickly became clear that something nasty had happened. This wasn't a drill, this wasn't a hoax.
But in the confusion, there were acts of bravery. Watch as this officer approaches one of the attackers, shooting him. The terrorist's gun sliding across the floor. The officer comes closer, but then runs for cover as the terrorist on the ground fumbles and then detonates his suicide vest. This morning, that officer, Yasin Derna, is reportedly recovering in the hospital with a spleen injury from a gunshot wound. But the terror wasn't over. As people ran out of the airport, a third attacker was waiting, detonating his suicide vest near a line of taxis. You can see the force of the blast. Funerals for the victims have begun. We are told that 94 people still remain in the hospital.
Such a devastating.
Okay, and that does it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Thursday. See you back here later on. Goodbye.